Reading from the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Book 2, Chapter 1, Text 159. So we'll do it together. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dāru-brahma jagan-nātho bhagavān puruṣottame. Kṣetre nīlācale kṣārā rṇava-tīre virājate. At Puruṣottama on the blue mountain, on the shore of the salt ocean, Jagannātha, the Lord of the universe, the personality of Godhead, is present as the absolute truth manifest in wood. Purport. Within the holy dham called Puruṣottama on the shore of the salt ocean is a district called nīlācale, and there the Supreme Personality of Godhead is present as Lord Jagannātha. He is called dāru-brahma because he is the absolute truth in wood, daru, and because he destroys dharana, the miseries of material existence. He is described in a number of Puranas. For example, in the Padma Purana, a quote, as Sri Puruṣottama on the northern shore of the ocean resides the Supreme Absolute Truth, full of perfect ecstasy, he has assumed the transcendental body that appears wooden. In the land of Orissa, on the blue mountain of Sri Puruṣottama-kṣetra, the ecstatic and all-spiritual Lord is present in wood, in the form known as Jagannātha. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Siyadvaita Gadadhar Srivasade Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So greetings from the Super Soul Farm. They have their Seva retreat, which is very interesting because it's by invitation only. Can you imagine that? All right. And it's great to see all the varieties of people that come, construction workers and, different people that come. That kind of, I don't even call it a strategy, I call it a realization that to spread Krishna consciousness, you include people where they're at and validate that, like they do in any church. They don't demand to be a member of the church, you have to meditate for 2 hours. And, and people have all kinds of samskaras in life, right? For what you deal with in your own job, right? People have different samskaras. They all can't become meditators. But boy, can they serve and work and selflessly. They're volunteering for seva. And seva means when the seva is best, bhakti is best expressed in seva when which is loving responsiveness to the Lord through the body of the mind, body and words. So people seva. And I always give that definition. Pradyumna is such a gem. He lives in the Bhakti Center, Panditji Prabhupada's Pandit. And the gems he gave me, and this is one: bhakti means to be available for service. And therefore, Prabhupada, when he defined bhakti, he defined it not just as an emotion in the heart, but also an activity. Bhakti is best expressed in devotional service. Of course, we can't have the other misconception that chanting and hearing is not service either. And I tell that story. Those of you who've been on this have heard it perhaps many times. But it's okay to tell a story when it fits to illustrate a point. And even if you heard it, it kind of has some dynamicism. When B.B. Govinda Swami was in Italy on the disappearance day of Raghunath Das Goswami, and he was telling, he's paying thousands of obeisance a day and chanting so many rounds, and and then someone raised their hand. And as you know, I speak many, many languages, so now I'll speak Italian. Maharaj, you would say that Raghunath Das is a great devotee, but what a service he do. So, and the spiritual master is expert in finding the ways and means to engage the disciple in devotional service, because we advance by absorption in Krishna. That's how we advance. The energy becomes activated between us and God, which is the ultimate reality, is being in that energy of service to God, for God's pleasure. We are created for that purpose, but it's not a selfish thing. It's the way reality is. There's an exchange of love. Rasa vai saha. He is that heightened love and exchange. We're meant to participate in it. But boy, these people were working. And I'm in, you may get a little view here of some, you can see out that window there. You see some people are here, but you see out that window there, I'm sitting here and I'm watching these people work, and boy, they really, with such absorption. So it was nice to be here this weekend for that type of energy, where just spontaneously one day, Thursday, had nothing for Monday morning greetings. Nothing. I wasn't even traveling, coming from Bogota. Then the next day, beautiful program at Jai Subhadra and Govardhan Lal. Then the next day, the ravels for Prasadam. And I was so out of, I work by regulation, but so does Lord Chaitanya. I was reading this morning with Lord Chaitanya, his incredible ecstasies. He was in the room, Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy are outside the room. Then they don't hear anything. And then they go in at night. It's locked and bolted and he's gone. And they go frantically to search him and they find him by the Sanga door gate. And he became elongated in such a way that his joints became dislocated. So in between, like his elbow, there was no connection, just skin. And it said there were symptoms that were never even seen in Shastra. But Raghunath Das, Krishna's Kavra said, but I accept them in toto because they were told by Raghunath Das Goswami. I accept them fully because they were from, but the point, and then Lord Chaitanya goes into one of his trances and he falls asleep, he rests. There's 3 levels. You're fully awake, you're half conscious, you're completely unconscious. So he thinks he's in the rasa dance, in the mood of Srimati Radharani, except he's like observing Srimati Radharani and Krishna in the threefold bending form, and he thinks he's in the rasa dance. And then his servant wakes him up because it was time for the daily duties. He's in the highest ecstasy, but it was time for the daily duties. So even in the highest ecstasy, there's duties that one performs. So, so but today, but just like yesterday, I finally got clear consciousness, and these articles just come. Boom. It was like Thursday. I said, reprint this week. I don't have anything, reprint this week. And then boom, an article comes in my mind. And after I tell you the title, you're going to have to read it. The Pope and Reincarnation. Everyone's going to want to read that. The Pope and Reincarnation. It's very interesting. What I show in observation around a few things I saw in the papal conclave, what I saw expressed in different things is the depth of our philosophy in Krishna consciousness that seemed more profound in various ways. But I make the clear point, that substance is more important than allegiance. And then describe when I was in Colombia. I was in Colombia and I went up to this mountain. It was 10,000 square feet. It's probably 7,000 square feet above where Bogota is, because that's already 3,000 square feet. And I went up to the top. And you had to take either a cable car or a train. And then you get out and then you walk these Barsana-like stairs. And I'm huffing and puffing and I'm seeing this pious man and his wife taking like their 97-year-old mother. I don't even know how she makes one step. And then I get up to the thing. It's so beautiful. And then I go to the shrines and these churches with these different shrines. It's so beautiful. And then see the people in deep prayer. So beautiful. Seeing the ordinary people. So I said, I may have said a little something, honed a little of their teachings in the church, but I'm humbled by this. I'm humbled by the influence of the church. And, even in modernity and post-modernity, and still see these people, in ordinary people with such deep prayers. And then I went to this back shrine, and I saw in the back, it was a nice shrine, they had about 7 or 8 confessionals. I never saw confessionals, but little confessionals. And some old lady comes up to me. I'm sitting there with my kind of the brownish type color I got here, and then my brown robes, and some lady comes up to me, so humble, asking for blessings, and I'm saying, I'm not a priest. Okay. And my conclusion was, I pray in many, many lifetimes I could have her heart and smile of devotion. So I'm saying that there's something there. So I thought, little commenting on the American Pope. Well, some of the things that I thought were ridiculous is I saw this thing with Seminarians, something like that. And there's like 30, young Americans, and they're sitting on the edge of their seat. And then they announced that the Pope is American, and all of a sudden they're going, USA, USA, USA. And I said, wait a second. And for everything, when I saw something like this, I said, wait, what are they teaching there? And that's I mean, can you imagine? Well, it's not unusual, but let's say it's the first time they made an American chairman of the GBC. See the brahmacharis, USA. I mean, I quoted, Yasyatma budhe kunupe tridatu ke swadi that one who considers his land of birth worshipable, Sa'eva Gokra, better than a cow or an ass. That's the Bhagavatam. Sa'eva Gokra. But Gokra also is a special type of dumbass that's only found in Afghanistan and Philadelphia. No, I'm just joking. I have two people from Philadelphia here. I had to kind of put that in there in the mood of in the mood of W.C. Fields. Okay. So so let's say we have that story of the Brahmin. He meets Gop Kumar. We're all on the same page. The Brahmin's going to tell a story to Gop Kumar to help him understand the meaning of his mantra, because this Brahmin got the mantra without any explanation, and Gop Kumar had the same story. So he wants to tell his story of the mantra and how it had influence. This is the idea, same thing. It had influence, but without proper knowledge, you'll go forward, but you'll make a lot of mistakes and take a lot of wrong directions. But the mantra will carry you, just slowly. Just like when Prabhupada met Allen Ginsberg after 10 years, and when he left, they said, hey, he seems a little bit nicer. And Prabhupada said, yes, even namaparad for many years people will make. But with conception, that namabhas, with pure conception, Shuddhanam, it's so much more powerful. So this Sambandha Gyan, this understanding of reality and our relationship to reality and our relationship to God and relationship to reality is so important. So then we have the story of Gop Kumar. And we know he gets this mantra from this great, ecstatic Mahabhava Bhakta on the highest level, and he leaves, he has the mantra, but because that person said, I'm going to give you the mantra, and this is the blessing of the Supreme Lord or something, so he starts searching, right? And then he meets it's good to review the story. He meets a person who's worshiping a Shalagram Shila, who says it's God, and then he's kind of dissatisfied because he sees the level of worship is not commensurate with God. But in bhakti, it's not the object, it's the devotion. So whatever you can offer with love, right? But it's not that you cut up a banana and you have the ice cream stashed. It's kind of, you offer what you eat. In our thing, I was told this personally by Vishvambar Goswami when I first got a Govardhan Shila 30, 40 years ago, given to me, but not asking for it and refusing it, and then it coming again. I went to Vishvambar Goswami of the Radharaman Temple, and he and asked him about the worship, and he told me, as long as you have Tulsi, because I told him I don't have time to worship and I'm going to the West. He said, if there's Tulsi and you follow the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Raghunath Das Goswami was given a Govardhan Shila, and it was considered Bhav Seva of the devotion, very simple. He said, you offer whatever you're eating, and it's described there, just bathe it with some cloths, offer Tulsi, and it's very, very simple. So that Brahmin, the Brahmins wearing the Shalagram Shila said, oh, you want opulence and that, you want to see real love. If you think love is opulence, and there's a connection because we offer our best to Krishna, but it's the consciousness, not the activity, but you offer the best. So there's something too when there's great opulence in service of God. It's a lot of devotion. So he said, you go to this king, and somehow he goes, and I don't remember all the details, but they like him. Even though he's uneducated, he has a certain bhav coming from, Govardhan, Vrindavan. He has a certain bhav, and they like him. The king has no son. He adopts, and he winds up as the king. And he keeps everything going, and the rituals, etc. But in bhakti, and I think that what these stories show is that you'll never be satisfied unless you reach your heart's content. And in bhakti, that means the relationship with Krishna that is inherent within you. You won't be satisfied. We feel that a little way. I mean, Vrindavan, Govardhan. Ah, I'm missing Govardhan again. We're not satisfied until, that's where our hearts. And even whenever I left India to any other holy place up in the Himalayas, my God, I went to this place, rṇava-tīre. It was so far up. I had this ashram, and oh my God, how beautiful, how peaceful. But as soon as I got a chance, I went down to Braj. As Bhurjan said, if you want peace, don't take the path of bhakti. Bhakti is the path of love and drama. Vrindavan, Govardhan. So he's kind of not satisfied, and then he gets upset because, he's the king, but there's an emperor, and the emperor's into the rules, but in a way that doesn't respect his inner bhakti, because they're saying, prasad has fallen, you can't take this, you have to take prasad, smart the Brahmins, Satkarma, Nipano, Vipro, Mantra, Tantra, Visharada, all the Mantra, Tantra, Visharada, a Vaishnava, Guru Nisyat, Swapacho, Vaishnava Swapacho Guru. It doesn't know the mantra and the tantra. All the, this and do this and boom, boom, snapping the fingers. And I joke, but it's true. I get bored stiff at fire yagas. I only let people do the fire yaga for my initiations that do the abbreviated version. That's my only. So he wasn't satisfied because he had some other taste, which is not defined because it doesn't have some bandhagyan, but he has feeling for it. And so somehow or other, there's somehow another theme that goes through it is God is directing us on our path, even by the karma he sends and the situations we have. He's directing us on the path. The people he sends, he's directing us on the path. He's directing us on the path. And so this is what happened with Gop Kumar. There's this transcendental system that God's connected to the heart, and he's sending us exactly what we need. Because everything is actually, not just preaching is a step-by-step process, our whole spiritual evolution is a step-by-step process. So what God sends is our next step. What God sends is our next step. And somehow we already found out that Gop Kumar, he's already quite elevated. So his next step is really being accelerated with, some sadhu comes, venerable saints had arrived from the south by sadhu virai. Virai always means excellence. The most excellent of the sadhus arrived on a pilgrimage, and then they told him at Jagannath Puri, God is there, manifest in wood. So his journey will begin. Mahavibhutamam rajam otkalam palayam swayam vyajanyam nijamahatmyam sada sevakavatsala. With infinite opulence, that Lord himself rules the kingdom of Utkal. He displays his unique glories and always takes affectionate care of his devotees. Sevaka Vatsala. Wow. One second. He takes care. God, what a name for God, Sevaka Vatsala. I'm going to give that name to Jagannātha for his next retreat, as he inspires the people to slave over his property. He gives some good philosophy for that, right? Okay. Well, no, they love him and they love all the work here. So he goes, he's kind to his devotees. Tasyanam pachitam lakshmya swayam bhuktva dayaluna tatam tena swabhaktebhyo labhyate devadulabham. After eating food cooked for him by his consort Lakshmi, the all-merciful Lord distributes to his devotees his own remnants, which were available in nīlācale, even though by demigods they are rarely obtained. So this Jagannath Prasad is very, very special. And, if you see, their kitchen is 2 blocks long and 2 stories high, and they have a way of putting on the fire and just putting all the things in and piling up the pots and leaving and letting Lakshmi cook it. That's the way they cook it. They have a fire, they have a clay choli, the thing for the stove. Then they have different pots, and they throw the ingredients in, and then somehow, it's amazing. And my Puriyatra, that Jagannath Prasad, Puriyatra is just, the level of the prasadam that is served is just incredible, because we have our own cook too. So, and I always remember, I can tell that story, the great saint, Dr. Fakir Mohan. He would come to my retreat and sit in my classes. He's the most learned Vaishnava on the planet. And he would sit in my class, and I beg him to speak. I said, Maharaj, speak on the holy name, because I knew he spoke for 3 years on one verse about the holy name. 7th verse of Odadaya Kirtan, the second one. He spoke for 3 years on one verse. He said, no, I will speak on prasadam. I will speak on prasadam. Because he's from Korea, and and his class was eat and eat more and eat more. And so they have a lot of faith. The remnants from the plate of Lord Vishnu are extremely difficult to obtain, but in nīlācale, after the goddess Lakshmi personally cooks for Lord Jagannath, the Lord eats each preparation and freely distributes his remnants to the devotees. Being all merciful, Lord Jagannath sees to it himself that all his devotees obtain his prasad. When everything cooked for the Lord is offered before him in many clay pots, sometimes he eats only a little of each preparation, and sometimes he eats everything and then miraculously fills the pots. So, we wait, we have the program and it comes, these big pots come, right? These big pots come. And yeah, it's amazing. And I always take care of the prasad serving. I'm very particular. It has to be done in the right way. Mahaprasad samgam cha tat sprishtam yena kenachit yatyakutrapi vanitam avicharena bhunjate. The food is called his Mahaprasad, be it touched by anyone or brought anywhere without discriminating, the devotees eat it. So you see, he left because they weren't respecting the prasad. The emperor was giving these smarter rules. But this food, Mahaprasad from Jagannātha, yatra kutra, up anywhere, avicharena, without description, yena kenichit, by anyone, anywhere, without discrimination, bhujate, it's eaten. It's eaten. The Mahaprasad of Lord Jagannātha is unique because it has been touched by his nectarian lips. It can never be contaminated, even if touched by an unseeable or untouchable person, or even carried to an unclean place. No decent person ever refuses to eat Lord Jagannāth's Mahaprasad or complains that it might not be pure or that the time is improper to accept it. It is said, quote, the food that Lakshmi cooks and Lord Puruṣottama eats should be accepted without consideration as being touched or untouched by anyone. It is as pure as Lord Vishnu himself. The Skanda Purana says, even if Lord Jagannath's prasad has completely dried up from sitting for a long time or has been carried to a far distant place, if eaten in the proper spirit, it will surely drive away all sins. Bhavishya Purana, even if the food eaten by the Lord of the universe has been touched by outcasts, by those with no caste, or by those born in mixed caste, still it has the power to destroy all sins. O best of kings, one should never be concerned whether someone has touched Lord Jagannath's prasad. If persons unfit to take part in Vedic sacrifice simply touch this prasad, they become completely sanctified. O Brahmin, there are no restrictions about when to accept this prasad, as there are in the observance of vows like Chandrayana. When one receives Lord Jagannath's prasad, one should eat it at once if one wants to attain the liberation of the soul. I don't know how many years I've been doing this Puri Yatra, but wow, the prasad, so digestible. It's amazing. It's amazing. Aho tatsheta mahatmyam gardabo pi chaturbhuja yatapa veshmatrena nakasyapi punabhava. Oh, that holy kṣetra is so great that even the donkeys living there have 4 arms. Anyone who simply enters that district will never take birth again. So, wow, this is a real Puri Tattva. There's prakat and aprakat. Prakat means manifest, aprakat means unmanifest. There's something very special to the Dhams that are unmanifest. And even though we may not feel it, we can see it. Even though we cannot see it, we can feel it. We can actually feel it if we go in those places in the proper way, the proper guidance. Some may doubt that the claim that Lord Jagannath Prasad is so special. Those doubts should be informed that Lord Jagannath's abode is even more special. Even lowly animals like donkeys who live there are four-armed, for they have automatically achieved the perfection of Sarup, having bodily features like the Lord's. This is stated by Lord Brahma in the Brahma Purana. You know, I'm reading about Lord Chaitanya, and I'm reading about Lord Chaitanya's incredible ecstatic symptoms and talking like a madman. And every chapter I read it, it says, just hear it. Don't try to intellectualize. You won't understand it on that platform. It's so fantastic. Because you can really have doubts, like, wow, Lord Chaitanya's going mad. He's talking like a madman. You know, and Krishna's Kaviraj is writing this from the notes of Raghunath Das Goswami, and he understands that people, that it's not easy to understand because we don't have experience of that. Things you don't have experience of, you don't understand. A 3-year-old girl, you can show her romance, she doesn't understand. So certain things we just have to have faith. And it's not blind faith. It's like you go to a doctor, you listen to them, what they say. It's not blind faith. There's a reason to trust a doctor or a reason not to trust a doctor, but there can be reasons to trust them. And one is the personal relationship and the medical knowledge that they exhibit. For example, I was visiting my friend Lakshmi Shringa, and his wife is a medical doctor, Ayurvedic doctor, and has a PhD in dermatology. So I had a little something on my ear, a little top. I have these little growths that come out, And she just gave me frankincense oil, lavender oil, and something else. I rubbed it on, it's gone. I completely surrendered to her now in terms of dermatology. So people, you develop trust by, an authority, by relationship with that authority and the application of their knowledge that works. Just see how great is this holy place, Brahma Pramanda, the demigods in heaven. See that in this kṣetra, the 10 yojanas on all sides. For 10 yojanas, everyone has 4 arms. And I'm looking at some of the meanest people in Puri, but some. Everyone living there appears with hands holding a conch shell, disc, and lotus. The demigods in heaven are constantly bewildered to see this. All the residents there are seen to have 4 arms. Furthermore, simply by setting foot in Puruṣottama-kṣetra, any living being coming from anywhere is freed from having to take another birth. This is confirmed by Sri Vedavyas in the same Bhavricha Parishta. This holy place, kṣetra, where the supreme truth is present in his pastime of having wooden form, bestows liberation upon all men who simply touch it. Even if someone has been dedicated to sinful behavior for many hundreds of lives, by merely coming in contact with this kṣetra, he will take birth in the company of Lord Vishnu. Ooh, I'm kind of excited that I've gone there. A mere glimpse of him, whose eyes are like lotuses in full bloom, grants the ultimate goal of life. Such wonders I've heard, which I've never heard before. Purport: the personality of Godhead may be visible elsewhere in other deity forms, as indeed he is on the shore of the Ganga, in the kingdom where Gopkumar was now living. But the beauty of Lord Jagannātha is unique. So exquisitely charming is his beauty that by seeing him merely once, one feels relief from all miseries. That is a glimpse of Lord Jagannātha is enough. That a glimpse of Lord Jagannātha is enough to perfect one's life is stated by Sri Narada in his talks with Sri Prahlāda in the Padma Purana. The glories of the Lord, which are partly perceived by methods like hearing, are openly visible on the peak of the Blue Mountain. Any human being who sees that supreme being will go to the abode of Vishnu. What to speak of a great soul like you? Okay, we'll finish out this purport for today. As Gop Kumar heard from his visitors these glories of Puruṣottama-kṣetra and more, wonder arose in his heart because they've never been heard anything like these glories. Like we're hearing it. Wow, let's go. Although the form of the Lord that Gop Kumar was worshiping was the same personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Jagannātha is the origin of all such incarnations of the Lord. I wrote an article as Lord Jagannātha, the highest manifestation of God. And my conclusion is, there's one God who revealed himself in love, just like we are one person, but the fullest manifestation of ourselves is in love. And Lord Jagannātha is the deity of Krishna in love for Radharani to such a degree that it be overcomes by ecstatic symptoms. From seeing the source of all incarnations, especially at such an exceptional place as Puruṣottama-kṣetra, one can gain greater benefit than from seeing a mere incarnation. Gop Kumar had not heard such facts about the Lord in all the days he had been worshiping Lord Vishnu on the shore of the Ganga, nor he developed firm attachment to worshiping the Lord's deity, that this was the combined influence of his divine spiritual master and the divine personality of Godhead will be explained more clearly in this narration. We shall now see how Gop Kumar's guru and Gop Kumar's worshipful Lord continually exert their influence on his step-by-step progress. Overcome by desire to see Lord Jagannātha, in a moment I abandoned everything and set off in the direction of Orissa, chanting Lord Jagannātha's glories. I quickly reached that holy district, bowing down to all the residents. By the mercy of those saintly persons, I was able to enter the temple grounds. Okay. So, okay, just gonna... Jamunajaya, you here or you are preaching in some far-off land now?
No, I'm still here. I leave tomorrow, so I'm still here today at Yoga Maya.
Doing the same thing of doing shows in children's hospitals?
Yeah, so I'll be more in schools this time.
And this is
So
a charity organization that arranges this for goodwill?
yeah, so they arrange, it's sort of like a outreach kind of thing that these are children that are learning to speak English.
Yeah.
So they want native English speakers to come and perform for the children. So I'm a very American voice person. So
Anyway, if they were really serious about learning proper English, they would have Sri Rupa Jai Subhadra me come.
yes,
That's all I can say.
I'll recommend you for next time. I grew up in Queens, but I don't quite have it in my voice.
It's not British, though. It's not Oxford. He's got
No, it's not Oxford, but it's it's a little flat.
I didn't know you had such a high birth.
Yeah, Queens, Jamaica, Queens, Maharaj. Yeah, close to Kennedy Airport.
You and the president.
Yeah.
Okay. You must be very proud. Okay. What's your realization?
I really love what you said about it's an evolutionary process that God sends us what is our next step. It's sometimes easy to look too far, but it's the next step that he sends.
Right.
I love that.
Right. Great. Yeah. Okay, Gail, you must have something.
Hi, Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering, we heard all the glories of going to the Dham, Jagannath Puri there.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering about all the people who have gone there on yatra and, what can the people who have gone there expect in their future?
Yeah, you know, in the Nectar of Devotion, it mentions that you clap once before the deities and all your sins are gone, and you know, but then it has one verse. It says that these verses are given to kind of enthuse people, right? But there are instances where it's true. So I can't wrap my mind around it, how exactly it works, only that there is tremendous benefit where everyone that went there in their next life goes back to Godhead, but there is benefit, you know. But there's benefit from going to Radha Govinda Mandir and seeing the deities and clapping your hands, taking Mahaprasad. I don't know, Gail.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I'll just, go to Tuaco or or it's a little less expensive, a little less anxiety ridden.
There's definitely potency in the Dham. I'm just whether clapping once you get the Vishnu birth. I'm not diminishing the potency. It's extraordinary.
Yeah. We just can't know who will get that mercy, I think.
No. Anybody who comes to Vrindavan under guidance, their life is changed. They get real deep faith.
Yeah, that's a great advertisement.
It is.
That statement.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Corey, nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My humble obeisances.
Good. You're in Vrindavan or Russia?
No, now in Russia, in Moscow. Yeah.
Okay. How long are you going to be in Moscow? Because I'm coming this summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I will be in Moscow till July, and after July, I will be in Sochi. When are you going?
I think my ticket is July 14th.
Oh, July 14th. Oh, maybe I will see you.
Okay, nice to see you.
Nice.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Okay. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Gurudev.
Jai Shri Radhe. Haribo. Hello?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Jai Shri Radhe.
Thank you so much for Jagan-Nath Puri Katha. I
Oh,
really, really miss that place. Although I have a very, very particular relationship with Jagannath Puri, but Jagannath Prasadam is something that stole my heart forever.
whoa, it's amazing. And Jai Shri Radhe, I'm so glad that I will be in Shanti Shakti with you.
That's a divine arrangement. I can't say anything else.
Okay, Haribo. We can remember the pastimes of the Mushi subject.
I'm not sure if I can recreate it again, but I can try my best.
You're going to have to cook soup for me there. I insist it. Me and Jagadish, you're going to have to cook soup with cream. I have to relieve myself of the offense to borscht. Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Hey, Krishna Maharaj.
Hey, Krishna Maharaj.
Where are you guys?
Oh, we're in the kitchen.
Okay.
Okay.
Getting ready for today.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, we'll see you today. Yeah, that's going to be nice. We're going to really get some quality kata. And I think we'll have quite a bit of people there too. Okay.
Yeah. We're excited.
Krishna Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Slave away. Hare Krishna. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Surya Radhika here.
Hi, Krishna Maharaj.
Wow. Where are you guys? Where's that?
His house.
It's my place.
Nice. Not bad.
Thank you, Maharaj.
See you both. Jai Shri Radhika, still enjoying?
Yeah, yesterday we went to Rath-yatra, Jacksonville. It was really nice, beautiful.
Wow. Can you imagine growing up in the Middle East and then attending a Rath-yatra?
Yeah, I was hoping that one day we have Rath-yatra in Iran also, in Kish Island.
Don't mention that.
Okay.
Spies everywhere, right? Well, that's when I'll come and eat the Supreme Personality of rice.
Yeah.
You won't come up to the New York Rath Yatra. No, that's it's difficult.
Yeah, it seems that we cannot do that, but we want to come for attend your retreat.
And upstate Mars
will
come for
we
that.
We haven't yet registered. I hope there is still space for us.
Well, it's pretty full, but register and we'll discuss it and see.
Okay.
Sure.
It's a very wonderful community retreat. It's not an intensified retreat, but it's great people, and Brahma-tīre will be coming.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Okay, well, right, and then we'll see.
Okay.
So much.
Okay.
Okay, Haribo.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Bhakti Devi, will I see you today?
Yes, I'm in the kitchen making a treat.
Okay, great.
I'll see you later.
Okay, great. I want a nice turnout. Great.
It looks like you have one.
I know. I worked at it too.
See you later.
God and people. Okay, anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Krishna-katha. Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
You
took us to Jagannātha Puri. Thank you.
Haribo. Okay, one more. Okay, I see all the list of people. Thank you so much. Great. Bunch of Kalpatubhyasya Kripasindivi.